Hey everybody, DJChance here. Now in this week's episode, I'm going to answer the age-old question of the Hercules Starlight versus the Numark DJ2go2 Touch. And that question is, will it juggle? Let's find out. First, I need to send a special acknowledgement to Wasted Talent Corp for even giving me the idea of trying to beat juggle with these mini controllers, because I never would have thought this was even something in the realm of possibility before that. So in full disclosure, I started the day before yesterday to practice that, and I've been pleasantly surprised at the results. And I'm going to show you what these things can do, and I'm no ITF for DMC DJ by any means, but hopefully I put something together that sounds good and that you'll like, and I'll show you the capabilities of each one. I already have a favorite. I've also been asked by a few people, namely Synthmaster recently asked me which one I prefer over the other. Now for DJing wise, it's really a toss-up. Depends on what I want to do. If it's a normal little party where I may not do anything, this one's fine. For basic scratching and just playing, this one is geared more towards juggling, surprisingly, and I never would have thought of that before. So let's get into it and I'll show you what it can do. We're going to begin by discussing the size difference between the two controllers in relation to one another, and why I feel the Starlight is just better built for the purposes of beat juggling. Now I have three controllers here in this video. This first generation DJ2go2 Touch won't be a part of this specific video. I have review tutorials of these three controllers, and I'll put the links in the description below if you want to get more in depth on what they're capable of and what one is missing versus the other and what has been improved. Because the Hercules has more of a surface area, it allowed Hercules to put a bigger wheel on here and bigger cue pads. The wheel on the Hercules is 2 1/16 inch, and the other advantage of the wheel on the Starlight is that because it's bigger, and you also get most of the surface area to put your finger on, and it's got a much better grip. It's like a rubberized kind of plastic maybe they put on there, and it's got really good friction, so your finger doesn't slip out anywhere. Also, the wheels are higher up off of the deck in relation to the wheels on the Touch, and that allows your fingers to move freely across this controller without fear of hitting any of these cue points, or maybe you hit a play button or anything like that. Your fingers will probably run into the bass and filter knobs, but that's not going to affect your sound because you have to actually turn these because this has a notch in the middle. When you're trying to beat juggle on this, you really have to go after these buttons and attack them, because not only are they smaller, they're also less sensitive than the ones on the Starlight. The Starlight ones you can hit and pretty much you're going to get a reaction every time. The Numark, you really have to whack them hard in order to get to your cue point. The DJ2go2 Touch, with its smaller wheel, loses more of the wheel because they recessed the touch capacitive wheel inside the plastic ring that makes up the nudge wheel. What happens there is if you're beat juggling, your finger has to land specifically on the metal. If you have more pressure on the ring side of your finger versus the metallic side, the controller's going to let go of the song as if you let go of the wheel. You've got to be laser focused to hit these buttons, and if you're doing a beat juggle and you're moving your fingers frantically, that's going to be a little more difficult to do. It can be done, but it just really takes more focus. And because the wheel is so much shallower and closer to its deck, it's just barely above the buttons. So the problem with that is if you're not really paying attention or you just slip, your finger can and probably will hit one of these cue points, maybe the sync button, and throw your beat juggle completely off. The other thing you have to watch out for with both controllers is the wheels and the pitch controls on the left side. You can see the wheel is really close here to the pitch. So if you've got bigger, fatter fingers, you're probably going to run into a problem, especially since you have to aim this thing. You may move that pitch slightly. The pitch on the Starlight is even closer. As you can see, it's almost right on top of it. It's just right past the edge. You know, my finger, I can feel it just edging against the finger. The other reason I like the Starlight versus the Touch for beat juggling is even the sync, cue, and play buttons they've made different. So if you're used to the tactile feel of your Touch or Hercules or pretty much any other controller, Hercules has differentiated even the shape of their buttons. They're slightly larger, and the left sync button, you can see it has an outer rounded edge on it, and then the play button has the rounded edge on the right, and then they kept the cue button square. So if you're just moving around, you can just know by feeling it which button is which. Another feature that the Starlight have that the Numark does not is you have the ability to turn these same pads for your cues into the effects portion of what you have in Serato DJ software. So if you've got an echo on one and you've got a reverb or a filter, when you hit the cue button, you hold down the cue button with the shift and you see it blinking. Now you've got the ability to add effects. The Numark doesn't have any of that. If you want to do effects, you have to actually do a key shortcut, or you've got to actually manually hit it and click on it in the software. So this adds you the ability to spice up the beat juggle for a little bit. Maybe you want to end your juggle with a reverb or a delay, and you have that ability. You can So that's really nice that that's added to this. I wanted you guys to know that this was a fair test of the sound cards. Now, the Numark and the Starlight are very similar in the way they sound. They're pretty much exactly the same, and the differences are really slight. And I wanted to show you that I did a fair test here with that. I've got the master all the way up on the Starlight, all the way up on the Numark DJ2go Touch, and I have the levels at 12 o'clock in the same way that I have the levels on the Starlight. Also, on my Denon Envoy speaker, I have their inputs right in the middle as well. I put the volume for both at the same exact spot, and I'm just controlling with the master out. That way you can get a comparison of the sound cards. Actually, look out for a tutorial I'm going to do with this Denon Envoy wireless battery-powered speaker. Another interesting little quirk that I like to point out is the USB ports. Now this is someone that no one's ever going to notice except someone like me. I really pay attention to the little details, and now you'll know it if you get the two controllers as well. The USB ports on these are actually different. They've actually gone through the trouble of differentiating their ports. Now the Starlight has the bottom end, the thinner end of the USB port facing the top of its controller. The Numark has the thinner end facing the bottom of the controller. They also put the headphone outputs on the same right side in the lower corner. On the Starlight, they put their master out on the bottom left, where on the DJ2go2 Touch, they put their master out on the top left. That's just a little fun thing I like to point out. This is my favorite controller out of the three. Yes, it's a little bit larger and it's a little bit thicker than these, so it allows you to be higher up off of the deck. You don't have to do that DJ hunch over to reach these wheels. This is just better made, and it's got the little light on the bottom. I know that's thrown some people off. It's got the little lights that kind of flicker the music and do stuff, and that's kind of cheesy. It looks like a Costco or Walmart controller or speaker that flashes to the music. But that doesn't detract from its performance, where the Numark is good looking and it's thin and portable. But if you're looking for the more features, for the $10 more, it's better to buy this. And actually now I think I've seen these where they're the same price, or you can probably get this one with a case. And I did a review on the cases for these things as well. I'll put the link in the description below. And if you're looking for a more in-depth review on either of these controllers, I have one for each separate controller. So I'll put those links in the description below as well. And that's it, everyone. That's my review. So if you like it, please hit the like and subscribe and share with a friend. And don't forget to ring that bell. Just punch that bell so you'll be notified every time I put a new video up every week. And that's it, everyone. DJ Chance. Now master and make money.